Over the past few layers we encountered very peculiar individuals. Many of them were simply extreme lolcows who were making complete fools of themselves and were only hurting themselves. But I would say that the last layer started to delve into the Horrorcow territory. Because of the things that I will show and discuss, I do feel viewer discretion is advised, as their story will leave you baffled that people like this even exist. Again, some are more extreme in their ways than others, but you can always tell me about your favorite Horrorcow down below, as I'm still on a search for candidates for the next layer or two. Make yourself comfy because you are going snorkeling down this iceberg with Snorky.
Poop. And you guys love piss. And you guys love arguments. You guys love drama. Well, I got that for you. If you want that, I'll do that for you.
Who is 𝙄𝙘𝙚𝙗𝙚𝙧𝙗? Well, Andy is a perfect example of someone who we can consider a proper Horrorcow. Andy hates his life. The good thing is that not only does he hate his life, but he is also being hated by everyone around him, including his family members. Andy would frequently torment everyone's life around him. But besides that, Andy is an American YouTuber, vlogger and a former meteorologist. He gained authority for falsely claiming to have autism, despite numerous medical records proving him wrong. This is just a tip of the iceberg when it comes to Andrew.
And I think I'm pooping myself, damn it. I'm pooping myself. I'm pooping myself. I didn't even know I was recording this.
Besides being very rude, weird and even aggressive to the point he tried to poison his family, he is also known as a coprophiliac. And what's that, you ask? You see, Google told me that this is a person who gets sexually aroused and gets pleasures from feces. At least he is so described, but more on that later. But let's dive into the early life of Andy. Andrew Ditch graduated from Stanley G. Falk School, a special needs school in Buffalo, New York. A major event that happened to Andy when he was going to his important job as a chief executive of McFlipping working for Ronald McDonald is that he was hit by a car. But thanks to God he wasn't hit by an Opel like Harry Potter, so he didn't receive any scars. At least nothing major. But his life would change forever as he did apparently receive a quite head trauma. One very strange thing that happened over the next months was that he started to get addiction to diapers. Andy was weird before, but he was a functional guy. At least that's the statement from his family. His mother started to claim that Andy would start to imagine that he suffers from various diseases. Andy would go online and look up stereotypical autistic traits and start to pretend that he has autism. However, it's more likely that Andy suffers from Munchausen syndrome, a mental disorder that causes someone to act out symptoms of an illness. To this day, Andy's father speculates on whether or not Andrew suffered from brain damage due to the car accident. Andy's behavior was extreme as he would dismiss and scream at everyone who would try to prove him wrong.
Spike Unhinged over by the apartment and Fletcher. And we got a phone call. We're sitting down to eat dinner. Come and see your son if you want, because otherwise he's going to be dead. He's laying in the middle of the street. So we raced out, got in the car, went over there, and he's laying in the middle of the street. He got hit by a vehicle, hit and run, and he's laying there, you know, his whole face is all mashed up and everything. And we had to call the police and the ambulance, get him to the hospital, whole 9 yards. And they said, well, other than the bleeding and probably a concussion, he should be okay. And ever since, we've always questioned whether or not he had brain damage. Get this, Andy used to drive. And he used to have his own computer business in our house. And he was high rated with the Better Business Bureau. And he was an amateur weather meteorologist. And he locates storms at the airport and all these other things. And all that stuff and all the stuff he was interested in. And he loved his neighbors. Lost interest. Can't do it. Can't function. No more.
Andy was not diagnosed with any type of brain damage, but the doctor also said it could take years for something like this to develop because of this hit. If you take a look at his old videos,
Sometimes he'll be marked just with an internet symbol, such as what this router has a little universe on it. Here, I have a challenge for everybody. If you want me to eat poop, I need you to subscribe to my channel, get me 1 million subscribers.
You see where I'm getting at? You could see that Andy seemed kind of normal. He was living alone and he was doing alright until a certain switch flipped in his head. But the more you look into this, the more you will see that how things smell quite funny here. Mostly because of Andy.
You bully me and you get away with it! I want to throw out my diapers. I don't want help anymore. He said I need to.
The question now is how we know so much about Andy's life. These lolcow creatures have an unresistible urge to share everything they do online, but in Andy's case it's a bit different. Andrew records most of his encounters with other people himself, as he merely wants to record proof that he's being abused by his parents and other authority figures. Andy is unaware that recording private conversations or taking pictures of medical documents is even potentially illegal. It seems like there are some inconsistencies in Andrew's claims. For instance, on his blogspot page he mentioned that he started to talk when he was 5 years old, but then he contradicted himself by stating he couldn't talk until he was 14 due to his autism. The difference is only 9 years, I mean nothing major. This is probably getting on many nerves, as faking an illness is definitely not something you should do, and it's definitely evil, especially if you do it with purpose. Andrew in his glory days would also run a website which was dedicated to tech support in his area. Later he even made tech related videos before he derailed into the land of insanity and went on a never ending downward spiral. Just to prove you that he's not suffering from autism, this is a recording phone call with the Office of the People with Developmental Disabilities.
Several psychiatric reports were completed by Trinity Medical, Western New York, PC, and Erie County Medical Center for Mr. Ditch attached to 16. While some of these reports indicate that Mr. Ditch had an autism spectrum disorder, none of them reference any testing to support this diagnosis. The Erie County Medical Center noted in its March 7, 2019 report, 𝑆WAPIC referral details. Per collateral, Andrew has an IQ of 80, central auditory processing disorder, and another processing disorder. He does not have autism.
But again, Andy doesn't want to hear about it, neither does his brother, and he hates Andy because of his pretending, but also how he treats his parents. The only way to cope with Andy is to blow a trumpet at Andy so he goes away, which is quite hilarious.
And please move, I gotta go to the bathroom.
No, I don't.
Move, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Then go.
19.
I'll follow
I
you.
had a reading level.
You're not following me,
I'm
because
going
then you're
downstairs to make
harassing
sure
me.
you hear how I feel. I don't want you to hurt my ears. I don't want you to hurt my ears. You're not hurting my ears. I'm not gonna hurt my ears.
We also need to address that Andy frequently goes to the bathroom, or at least he should go, so I don't know if he needs them or loves them, but he definitely has a diaper fetish. He's always keeping a log where he's writing every tiny detail about when he goes number 1 or number 2, so do what you want with this information. But I don't want to dive into his love for diapers anymore.
So yeah, this is my potty vlog today. Last night I put on my crinkle at 10:43. Had to change at 4:50. Yeah, it was very soaked. If it wasn't for my dogs waking me up at that time, I would not have been able to change.
And the frequent infections that would pop up. I don't have the stomach to show you all of this because, trust me, it's truly sickening. And also, for whatever reason, Andy smeared the hotel room with his shit, which was just a great surprise for that poor soul who needed to clean this room after him.
Before. So guess what? This is what my hotel looks like. Never needed a diaper before. I'm checking out.
Also, he would beg his parents to change his diapers, which is a way for making his fetish come alive, I think. I don't know nothing about this. Again, I wanna hear your thoughts about this. There are definitely many things to sit and argue about here, but let's leave it at that Andy just loves his diapers. Now, a thing that quite bothers me is also that Andy has a tendency to go to the hospital, quite frequently actually, to be treated for things well he doesn't suffer from, where he would even attack the hospital staff if they didn't treat him like he wanted. If the hospital staff doesn't do anything about it, he would scream and even spit on them.
Yeah.
What is the address?
I'm scared.
Here, look at me, look at me.
I'm scared.
Hear me out.
I don't know what's going on. I'm scared.
Let's walk you out to your cab.
No, I'm too scared.
Yeah, we can change the cab to any address.
I'm scared.
As long as you know the address.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
You said you wanted to go home.
I don't want to go home. I want to be admitted for my health and safety. I'm scared.
This is quite sad to see, as I know many people who are working in hospital, and from my knowledge they are so hard working people and they often aren't paid as much as they should be. And to have somebody like Andy bother them with his nonsense doesn't seem fair to those people. It's evident that Andy needs to be put somewhere where he is completely supervised. Also, one time he threatened to do suicide by walking over a crossroad as he screamed at the staff he doesn't know how to use one, and it would be their fault.
I'm going to get hit by a car, you bitch. I'll take the cab to Dad's house so I can sue you. I want to get hit! Hit me! Hit me! These don't want me alive!
All the things I said about the medical stuff is happening to the police also, because he loves to mistreat them and often offend them. And he's calling them on a daily basis. It's like he doesn't know how the hospital and the police even work, and he's just seeking attention and validation from them. It's insane. I love how there is a cop who'd frequently visit his house, and you can see that he's quite unhappy from being there for God knows which time.
Hi.
What's going on?
I was hoping to get called and I heard you were back.
You did get a call.
I did?
Nobody picked up.
What?
You did get a call and nobody picked up.
Oh, I think my phone is. I'm being cyberbullied.
And take your stuff offline.
Well,
You've been told a million times.
yeah.
The stuff you talk about online, you're asking to be cyberbullied, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it.
Also, his parents are quite elderly and he uses them in different ways, like the oil diffuser incident. On March 13, 2020, Angel was using an oil diffuser for his so-called coping skills. This was bothering his mother, who was on oxygen at the time, as well as his dogs. But Angel's parents gave up and finally reported him to the police, who would tell Andy to turn off the oil diffuser. But Andy still refused, saying that this was a request and wasn't a court order, and because of that they simply arrest him.
That I had no problem using all along.
Refusing to shut this oil diffuser off.
Because it's my coping skill. You can't just deny somebody right to help them relax.
It's bothering Mom. She's on oxygen. She's sitting at the table.
And she didn't even ask me. And I'll have it for my disability.
Okay, sounds good. Alright. Bye-bye. Okay, you can go to jail then.
For what?
For harassment.
For harassment for something that's using it for my disability?
Yeah, because you're being unruly. This is ridiculous.
How is it unruly?
I'm not going to argue with you. I don't have to. Get your lawyer to talk to me.
Stand up and put your hands behind your back.
What do you mean?
Charged with resisting
I
arrest.
didn't do anything.
Stand up! Right now!
Hurting me!
Stand up.
You're hurting me!
Stand up.
You're abusing me!
Well, that's what happened.
I want to die because you don't want to help me!
Like I said, his parents are elderly people, and Andy apparently apparently loves them, but there was an incident one time where his mother fell from a chair and needed desperately help, and Andy was sitting and filming everything and waited until his father came to help his mother to get up on her feet while he filmed all of this.
No, that's no, Andy.
Dad, why is the chair backwards like it is then?
Try to hang on to it to catch your fall.
No, Dad, I was watching her.
Hurt yourself or break your
I was watching her. She was sitting on the chair and she fell off of it.
Oh, this is just sad. The lack of empathy towards your parents who let you live in their house and are feeding you, and the way how you're repaying them with things like this is just sad. But this wouldn't stop at things like this. He would also quite frequently verbally abuse them, destroy things around the house, or sometimes just simply spill drinks to annoy them. For whatever reason, he would often hit himself to the point that he starts to bleed.
I'm not going anymore to the doctors. I asked you to help me.
Apparently, once he told his parents that he was abused by his older brother, mentally but also in a way, some would feel some empathy towards him because of this, but I assure you that Andy isn't someone who we can trust, as he is also quite dangerous. Yeah, you heard me right the first time I said it, he tried to poison his family. Now the plot twist was that Andy's father said this wasn't the first time. Andy was accusing his father he was doing the same thing to him, but he was simply giving him medicine for his bowel movements. The problem was that Andy didn't just put a few drops in their drinks, but he overdid it, and because of this his family had intense pain. He even landed in prison for 30 days.
He's accused of spiking his family's food with dangerous levels of Epsom salts and laxatives. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Ala Arabi tells us more.
Police in the city of Tonawanda say 34-year-old Andrew Ďić spiked his family's food and coffee with laxatives and Epsom salts. Ďić allegedly sprinkled the substances on food and put laxatives in the reservoir of the family coffee machine. According to authorities, family members complained of nausea, abdominal pain, and severe diarrhea. Police say this all started in late October, and they're not saying anything about a possible motive. Ďić now faces a number of charges, including 2 counts of attempted assault. He's been arraigned in court, and bail is set at $5,000. He's expected to be back before a judge for a felony hearing Friday morning.
So why is this guy online in the first place, and why is he showering us with this golden type of content? Well, there is no end goal. The problem is that he contradicts himself so often it's hard to keep to track or even to believe anything he says. And I think that every parent would be scared seeing Andy on a playground screaming, yelling, pooping, and even once exposing himself to children.
There were kids playing on the basketball net, and I recorded it. Oh, my interaction with them and everything. I'm not a predator. It's all on tape. It's all on tape. Nobody has to worry, because if I was a child predator with kids on the...
Besides his mistreatment of his family, where he even tried to poison them, he claims that he is the victim and uses this to justify his attacks on his parents, stating that it was in self-defense. He also calls the cops and hospitals to seek validation from them. As of his use of diapers, I'd prefer not to discuss his bowel movements anymore, so let's move to the next topic.
Admit that Norm Macdonald is funny. Do it now. There just seems to be so much hatred there just because you put out a tweet against a comedian.
This is what this group, this cyberstalking cult, does for fun.
Let me take you down a rabbit hole suggested by Jillian on my previous layer. Patrick is a quite interesting fellow. He's also someone we could consider a failed sci-fi author and a comedian. Even if comedians do have thick skin, this guy is the complete opposite of that. Like a real lolcow, Twitter is his hive where he spends his days and where he is first spotted and transformed into a lolcow. He was very proud of his sci-fi book series, which sounded quite generic if you ask me. Apparently some of them even plagiarized works from the 90s, if I'm correct. Wait a minute, he's a son of an ex-hippie psychologist and an ex-cowboy electrician? Well, this explains quite a few things, I think. But enough of his books, as there isn't anything to write home about. Other things that Patrick enjoys is riding a motorcycle, to be more precise a Triumph, just to embarrass the Harley drivers. And when you write such things down on your About Me page, it just reflects your true character. As I said, he was a proud Twitter member and a verified one at that. And he would show off that tag like a banner dropped from a castle for everyone to see. Sadly, his happy reign on Twitter started to crumble down after he attacked Norman MacDonald and failed miserably. This would initiate a conflict in the comment section and led people to realize that Patrick is an easy target for trolls. He is one of those people who would attack every troll and make sure that he researches every corner of the internet just to see if somebody is conspiring against him. So Patrick, if you're watching, hello, and I hope you're enjoying this video, child. Also, for whatever reason, he loves to call people children, and I think this is also an insult
to us and in public, so
No,
now we know.
child, I haven't.
Yes,
No,
child, you
I
have.
No, child, I haven't.
Yes, child, you have.
No, child, I haven't. You see, this is where you keep screwing because you don't actually listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, I'll make sure to accompany those interviews with screenshots of text messages where you said that you're paying for all of this with your own money.
He would often comment to end the lives of his troll or send them to prison. I love how there is a Twitter account based upon his toilet and he's continually fighting with his toilet account almost on a daily basis. Even if I don't condone harassment in any way, this is quite funny. As you can imagine, there are many more wild stories here, but I wanna highlight just a few of them. Like where a screenshot was leaked how a troll had a quite brilliant tactic to attack Patrick. Thank you for signing up for adult diaper section. Our services is for users 18 and older. Reply yes to accept our service agreement, $6.99 per month. Reply stop to cancel, message rates apply. The problem was that Andy didn't write stop, but he answered with no. Then the message would continue. Thank you for accepting our trial service. You will be billed a one-time $4.99 fee for this 2-hour limited trial. Hot, horny diaper queens and hungry for your asshole are ready to fight. Have you ever smelled a ripe diaper? Still full of hot shit? I might just think about it. And then finally, in desperation, he would answer with stop.
It's time to stop.
I mean, I don't know what to say about this. It's like some South Park prank. But this trolling wouldn't stop. The trolls are basically consuming his whole life. This would go so far that he was even swatted like 50 times.
Surrounded by cops on his own property, this man is being detained, but he did nothing wrong. Someone had called 911 falsely reporting that the homeowner, Patrick Tomlinson, had just killed his wife, Nikki. The Milwaukee couple says they've been swatted 42 times.
Swatting somebody is definitely a dangerous thing, and it isn't funny at all. Even if SWAT members are trained professionals, you never know what can happen. Also, on a forums is a site where he is targeted and discussed the most time, and he's there frequently called Patrick instead of Patrick, which really pushes his buttons. As you know, lolcows are just fun and games, but horrorcows have that extreme gene to it. So let's talk about some things that are not so funny. In 2011, Patrick was arrested for threatening his daughter and pregnant wife. He was arrested for this, and it was later discovered that Patrick actually wanted his wife to give birth so he can kill all 3 of them. And this is why his wife divorced him, and this is probably the same reason why he didn't get the custody of his daughter. He doesn't have any contact with her, and she even changed her last name to completely cut ties with him. But shortly he had found a new wife, aka his replacement wife, like he calls her. And Patrick loves to brag about a sex life, very mature indeed. Well, at least more mature than some of his trolls who state that Patrick loves to kidnap black children and grind them into pepperonis to feed his sausage addiction. which is quite disturbing, but it really grinds his gears, and this is what counts for trolls, I guess. He even had an outburst in court over these jokes.
I was kidnapping African American children and grinding them up into pepperoni in my basement, which they all thought was absolutely hilarious, didn't you? Yeah. Sure, don't do that.
People even made an ad with a child where he stated he was selling homemade pepperoni from his basement. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Also, he tried to sue many people online, from book critics to trolls, everybody who is against him. But he lost his case and lost around $83,000 with interest. And if not paid, he would end up eventually in jail. Also, this was partially founded by a group called SFVA, or Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, who apparently also had some problems with PDFs among their ranks. The leader of these writers is a guy who is a member of a group called NAMBLA, which is a group about man-boy love, which is just ugh. He wrote a book in the 90s about kidnapping and SAing a young boy, and the most disturbing part is he apparently gained quite a support because of the book, at least from those people who are into this stuff. I mean, just to be connected to such people is very weird. There are many different sagas in his life. Like the one time a troll convinced him he was doing an interview for Vice. It's a completely insane story. Listen to this.
I can, yes.
Okay, I was just gonna say that I spoke with my supervisor about getting in contact with you. She says that you're a fat with bitch tits, so we're gonna have to cancel the article.
Oh, well, the problem with that, sweetie, is that we already figured that out.
You already figured out that you're a fat bitch tits?
No, we already figured out that you're a complete posing liar, and by the way, you weren't the only person.
Oh, okay, is that why you did like 2 hours of interviews with me? You're just that intelligent?
Yes, child.
What'd you say?
Yes, child. So what do you think you're going to do with those 2 hours of interviews exactly? Go ahead and explain it to me.
I'm gonna post them on YouTube.
Good for you, child. What do you think that's going to accomplish other than showing you to be the sociopath and loser that you are?
It's also gonna show that you're a gullible liar, and that you're also fat.
No, child, it won't, because I didn't lie to you in any of those interviews. That's the only problem you guys keep having. You see, I've never lied to you about anything. That's the problem you keep coming back to. Everything I've ever told you has always been true and accurate.
Oh, so you're paying for this lawsuit out of your own pocket? Yeah, that's totally not a lie. Mentally healthy people wouldn't react like this to a prank call, you fat faggot.
Your fucking mouth, child. Don't speak anymore. You have nothing to say. That's why you always go back to saying the F word, because you have nothing to say.
That's an accurate description of you, Patrick.
No, child, it is not. It
Yeah,
is
it
a
is.
lie. It is a delusion that you have to believe in order to continue functioning.
Okay.
You have nothing to say. Nothing you believe has ever been true.
So what did Judge Stein say that makes you think that you're going to win the lawsuit, even though you told Josiah that he's probably not going to rule in your favor?
See, that's the things that are coming out of your mouth, child.
You drunk fat.
Nonsense, babbling, insanity, delusions. You have nothing to say, and you have never had anything to say at any point.
Patrick also gained the name Tough Guy, where he claimed he beat up guys at his local bar and that he has much fighting experience. Probably that's why he plotted to attack his family, something that Patrick suffers from some humiliation fetish where he just needs to be humiliated so he can be at the center of attention. This is why he is always online and answering every comment and having public outcries. He is definitely a lolcow, but Horrorcow is yet to be debated, but his ties to NAMBLA are quite suspicious. But I mean, he also tried to kill his wife, daughter and unborn baby. And this is extreme. If you're interested in the whole story of Patrick, I would recommend you to go to the channel called Cryptic Web Chronicles, who does a very good job by documenting every his step.
Right? Yes? The North American Man-Boy Love Association. What? No, we're the North American Marlon Brando lookalikes.
Oh crap, we've got the wrong NAMBLA.
Oh, damn it, I'm in the wrong place.
Maybe calling people pedos on purpose in response to pushback isn't what? Isn't a great thing? How about you fuck out of my chat? No one loves you. No one in your entire life has ever loved you. They all pretended to like you. Leave this place. You're not welcome here.
This is quite a hot topic I didn't want to touch upon, but say hello to Keffals. Before you start accusing me of Keffals not being a horror cow, I wanna show you her story and the things she has done so we can have a debate about it. She's a Canadian Twitch streamer and YouTuber who primarily makes LGBT related content and topics concerning the left wing of the politics spectrum, but also advocates for a safe internet.
You're a little fat Jims. You're a little fat Jimsy. I'm gonna bully you as much as I want.
She was also advocating for a communist party in her early years on Twitter before starting to spread homebrew hormones to minors. You see, we are getting there. I don't wanna dive too much into political stuff, as I don't think this is the time or place for that. Somehow I feel Keffals is on that side of the politics from which the wind blows, as we say on the Balkans. What important is, besides having a poor career for a time, not much is known about her early life. She started to use her nickname Keffals in the games she played growing up. By the time she was 12, she realized she was trans and started to transition when she was 16. After a 42-year-old woman helped her get the stuff she needed to start her transition. When she was 18, her family went to Thailand for a gender-affirming surgery in 2013. Her father was very supportive in all of this. When her father passed away, Keffals' life started to crumble down and she spiraled into a opium and alcohol addiction.
Started doing meth and bezos, and I was planning on ordering him from the dark net.
Also at the time she was 18, as I mentioned, she wanted to make a name for herself in the adult movie industry by releasing videos under the name Sky. So only sky is the limit, I guess. Something that did drive a lot of controversy over the years when she created a Twitter/Discord channel called Catboy Ranch in 2021. This server was apparently used for, some would say, grooming of minors, sort of. She was accused of that, but apparently there is no proof which backs up these claims, as far as my knowledge goes. Members of this group were called Cat Boys, while Keffals called herself the Rancher. She would send callers to her favorite cat boys with tags on them that declares them her property. Please note, it's boys, not men, for whatever obscure reason. If this sounds a bit kinky, it's because it is. Keffals did shut down the Discord after some details came to light. But what we do know is that some minors in the group had access to some adult content. There is also a quite weird and questionable screenshot leaked from this server with a 13-year-old boy. Of course, she denied everything about it and stated this wasn't true and the callers were only sent with permission to 18-year-old boys. But what really catapulted her to the fame was her beef with Destiny. On March 2022, Destiny hosted a stream in which he reacted to the Leah Thomas controversy.
They're like, oh, we respect Leah as a woman, as a trans woman, whatever, we respect her identity, we just don't think it's fair. You can't really have that sort of half support where you're like, oh, I respect her as a woman here, but not here. They're using the guise of feminism to sort of push transphobic beliefs. And I think a lot of people in that camp sort of carry an implicit bias against trans people.
Destiny criticized the notion of trans women in sports and stated she should not be competing, at least not right now. This bothered Keffals, who accused him of bullying. This resulted in him being banned from Twitch indefinitely, a blow that the streamer didn't foresee, and just like that, Destiny lost a revenue source where he would make a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Now people like Nicholas De Oreo and Lauren Saunton have criticized this decision, believing the ban to be unfair, noting Destiny's pro-LGBT history and that there were other streamers who did worse things and weren't banned. Well, Keffals at the time felt almighty, because she managed to do so much damage to a prominent streamer like Destiny. She even criticized Destiny for doing stealthing, which is the act of taking off the protection without your partner knowing it.
Oh yeah, meanwhile he stealths people, which is legitimately a form of insane. Isn't that what? Wait, I don't know if he did it. Wait, backing up, I don't actually know if he did it.
Now, besides being in the Communist Party, doing pornos and having a group that has some very questionable morals, comes something that is quite alarming in my eyes, and that's how Keffals started to promote hormones to minors. Showed how they can get their hands on without any permission or prescription from a doctor or their parents. The worst part is that the seller who made these hormones says they are homebrew medicine. Ordering some random drug from Brazil to insert into your body without the proper supervision of a licensed doctor is insane. Just to state, I'm not against this, but there is a way how to do this. But Keffals has more things that raise eyebrows, and it's a very infamous event that happened just recently. Because of the things Keffals did online, especially resulting in Destiny bans, people started to wonder who was this girl. On Kiwi Farms, a thread was created and it started to grow like grass.
How did the Kiwi Farm stuff even start? They noticed me because I started doing Twitter ratios. And they went from getting mad about Twitter ratios to digging up every single thing in the last 28 years of my life, looking for more reasons to be mad at me.
Because her address was doxed by Kiwi Farms, somebody used her name and made a lot of threats in the area she was currently living in, which in the end resulted that the police needed to step in. The next day she was spotted.
On August 5th, I was woken up by London Police Services, pointing an assault face at my home. Go into my apartment until after I was in custody, and they had a search warrant signed.
And later they called her by her birth name and misgendering her.
During the arrest, the police officer referred to me by my dead name. I was booked in the station under my dead name. The police, when talking to my mother, referred to me as her son.
The police would also take all the electronics for investigation, thus she was not able to stream.
Because of the negligence of the police, we were both left functionally unemployed, and I have spent thousands of dollars replacing our computers and cell phones, so our lives aren't completely destroyed by what happened to us.
She was basically begging online to gather money so she can get back on track and move on. She also talked about how she was completely traumatized by this event, and she would appreciate if people would donate money to her GoFundMe page. The money will be used to make a legal case against the police.
I started a GoFundMe to move immediately, recoup my losses, and build a legal fund to protect my rights.
But just a few days later on Global News, the story changed.
I went into the hallway and then saw that assault. I screamed and I thought I was going to.
London Police Service confirmed the arrest to Global News. They added Sorrenti was released without charges and
people also discovered that Keffals did receive her electronics back after just 3 days. But she would continue to raise the money on the GoFundMe page.
People kept asking me why I'm raising the goal when it hits the goal. And the reason why is because, yes, I'm using these funds to move. But more importantly, once I'm safe, the rest of those funds are going to be used for legal expenses. Because I'm not just moving. I'm also taking legal action. I already have 1 lawyer, and I'm consulting with 2 more. I'm going to get justice for what happened to me, and for every other marginalized person in this country who has been victimized.
Over the next months, she would be doxxed multiple times as she tried to move from one location to another.
I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 870.
And people quickly realized that the GoFundMe money was completely misused, as she used the money to travel around Europe. A lot of attention was definitely when Mudahar made a video about her, which spread like wildfire. Again, this escalated in quite a mess.
Looking back years upon years of internet history to come to an actual conclusion of one of the most dangerous people on the web, an international transgender activist that some of you all may know as Keffals.
But now comes the question, is she a Horrorcow? Well, perhaps not a real one like Andy, Isabel or Christian, but come on, lying, deceiving, manipulating people, creating fake accusations to others and misusing money, all of this is bad. But how she was promoting homemade hormones to children is somewhere where I drew the line and would say that she is a danger to her community. If somebody wants to take hormones and change their gender or anything else, I simply don't care, it's your body after all. The problem that I have is when somebody is trying to sell some bad brew to kids. Because we don't need to debate that this is quite dangerous, as there isn't any medical professional overseeing this process. And the fallout of this could be life-threatening. There is a way how to do this, and this is the one. So thank you so much for watching this video and for all the support you gave me in the comment sections on my community post. I have found out that keeping myself busy helps me to avoid overthinking, which is certainly not good in this situation. I'm definitely still processing this, as well as my family. There will be a tribute video to honor him, and again I'm completely lost and without any vision at the moment. I will probably slow down with the uploads as I'm constantly visiting my parents and the rest of my family who are about a 6-hour drive from where I live. It's an extremely difficult time and I hope you all understand this. Thanks again for all the support in the comment sections. This video was also 80% done on the day of this horrible accident, and I only found the time now to finish it. I hope you enjoy it. Also, if you want to have a good time, feel free to join my Discord so we can hang out and talk about random things in our life, and just like I said, to have a good time. I know I'm late with the Discord channel, but yeah. Thanks again for everything, and I love you so much. Bye.